Hi, it's Elise here at Bowman Library with a whole new middle grade book spotlight. So our theme for this week, we are taking a look at some books that are written in diary or journal format. Now, I know there's a lot of people familiar with this, with like Diary of a Wimpy Kid or Big Nate, but believe it or not, there are other books out there available that you can get here at the library that's written like they're a diary or a journal. So you don't have to just limit that to like Wimpy Kid. There's some historical, there's some fantasy, there's realistic. We have tons of titles. So we're gonna take a look at 6 to kind of give you an idea and maybe some suggestions and some reading inspiration for some diary type books. So let's get started. Our first one is After Iris. So get ready to have some tissues ready when you read this one. Because main character Bluebell, also known as Blue, is 12 years old, and she feels like she is the one holding her family together, especially after her twin sister Iris died just 3 years before our story begins. So everyone is still trying to manage their grief in their own way, from their father who travels on the other side of the country for work to their mother who is currently overseas on vacation, leaving her and her siblings alone with their au pair who's from Bosnia. His name is Zoran, and he's just trying to hold it all together, especially with all their zany and crazy things that happen. So this is a look at how families deal with loss, and one that's realistic and is filled with situations that everyone can relate to no matter what you've experienced. This is After Iris. Our next one is by Meg Cabot. This is from the Notebooks of a Middle School Princess. So 6th grader Olivia is shocked to find out one day when she wakes up, gets ready to go to school, that she is actually the half-sister of Princess Mia. And because she's the half-sister of Princess Mia, guess what? That makes her a princess as well. So then everything changes overnight, from how she gets to school to how she has to act and what people expect her to wear to even how she has to eat. And then craziest of all, she's actually going to meet her father for the first time, and she has never met him before. And this is all happening while she's just trying to be a 6th grader and just suffer through, everything that comes with middle school. If you enjoyed the Princess Diaries, if you watched it, if you've read some of the books, or even if you haven't, you will enjoy this take on what would happen if you woke up one day to find out that you're actually royalty, and what would happen to your life. So this is from the Notebooks of a Middle School Princess. Twerk. So this is kind of like a semi-autobiographical fiction look at Mark Goldblatt's life. So 6th grader Julian is just coming back from serving a school suspension in which he was involved in a pretty horrific bullying incident. So in an effort to get him to actually see what he did, his English teacher makes him a deal. Instead of having to write his report on Shakespeare, he asks if he wants to write in a journal instead. That's going to help him, figure out what happened in regard to this incident. Julian thinks that this is super easy. He's getting the way better end of the deal. But little does he know, this is going to change his life. It's set in the 1960s, so it has some historical touch to it, but it's still things that could happen today. And you will find yourself reflecting about who you are as you follow Julian's story and how the choices you make can impact not only yourself, but others as well. This is Twerk. This would make a good story someday. So the summer before middle school, Sarah has it all planned out. But of course it soon blows up when her mother announces that the whole family is getting together and they're taking a train trip across the country. So this means she's gonna have to spend her summer with her 2 moms, her older sister, her boyfriend, as well as her younger sister, on a train in a very close compartment as they go over 3,000 miles. So as this journey starts out, Sarah actually starts to realize that she's going to go through a journey as well, and she does not see coming what ends up happening. And this is all about family and friendship and relationships and about herself, and there are moments of humor and awkwardness and everything else you can think of. It's totally realistic. We've all been on the family trips that are filled with every single emotion you can think of. This book has it. This would make a good story someday. Mira's Diary, Lost in Paris. So 14-year-old Mira has been having a really, really difficult time since her mother just completely vanished, disappeared 6 months ago. But then she and her family received this cryptic postcard from her mother. It is postmarked from Paris. So while Mira is super angry about everything that's going on and they just received this random postcard, her father and her brother are super excited. They jump on the first plane they can all get to get to Paris with hopes that they're going to go find her. So when they get to the city and they start searching, they find themselves at Notre Dame Cathedral, and Mira all of a sudden finds herself sucked back in time to the year 1881, where she is now in Paris, over 100 years past, since our story's taking place. And she starts to meet the famous artists like Edgar Degas and Mary Cassatt, and then all of a sudden she sees her mother. When she starts to uncover secrets about her mother, it changes everything that Mira thinks and knows about her and their family and their current situation. If you love a good time traveling adventure, this is the first in a series. You will want to pick up the next one as soon as you're done with this one, and you'll be solving a mystery right alongside Mira, all set, in the 1800s Paris. So this is Mira's diary. And our last one is Down the Rabbit Hole. So it's 1871, and Pringle Rose and her brother Gideon are living in Pennsylvania when they are orphaned, and they find themselves all of a sudden living with their vicious and uncaring uncle and aunt. And they don't really want them there. And Pringle finds out that they are planning to send her brother Gideon away. That's not going to happen. So Pringle decides that they're going to run away instead, and soon they find themselves on the way to Chicago, where they're going to start their lives over. But while trying to figure out what that means and looks like and how they're going to survive, the Great Chicago Fire starts, and it's an event that is going to change their lives forever. This historical fiction diary is one that you will not want to put down, because you want to know what happens to Pringle and her brother Gideon, and you will actually be learning about a true event, because the Great Chicago Fire actually really did happen, and it's a disaster that maybe you haven't heard about, but you can learn all about here. So I will tell you this, there are many Dear America books that are all about different times in history. So I encourage you, if you love historical fiction, maybe not necessarily this time period, there are others you can choose from as well. We will be happy to show you where the whole shelf and a half are. There's that many. So this is Down the Rabbit Hole. So these are just 6 of the books that we have here at the library that are written in diary/journal form. And it's a really unique look and gives you some insight into characters that maybe you just don't usually get in a typical book fashion. So we encourage you to come on out, try one if you haven't before, or maybe you're going to pick up a new favorite if you already love this type of format. I hope you have a great week, and I hope you tune back next week when we have a whole new middle grade book spotlight.